to start working. They haven't been working. They're not prepared. There are two stories today that are aimed at helping Obama. One of them's in the Washington Post. I forget what the other one is. Trying to explain our dismal unemployment numbers. And, you know, folks, it's not really as bad as anybody thinks. What's happening is that baby boomers are retiring. That's why the labor force participation rate's so high. The baby boomers are just that is such smoke that they are blowing. The number, and I harped on this on Thursday and Friday last week, and this is the number. Forget percentages. The number of people, adults, not working in this country is 88 million out of an adult population of 200 million. That's simply unacceptable. That doesn't equal great nation. That doesn't equal national productivity. That does not equal growing economy. 88 million people not working. And if you want to try to come in here and massage us, well, yeah, but some of them are retired, baby boomers. It's really not that. Doesn't matter. Still able-bodied people, 88 million of them are not working. The numbers of people on food stamps today versus the beginning of the decade doubled or tripled. So we're clearly trending in the direction of France, but that's what this election's about. We're going to find out this election is about stopping that trend or at least slowing it down. There's all kinds of polling data out there today. Politico has a story that Romney, depending on how you read this, is up with undecideds and independents by plus 20. It's a battleground poll. 6 months out from Election Day, with the Republican primary drawing to a close, there's been a predictable tightening in the presidential race, according to the latest Politico. While no one would ever mistake Romney as the consensus candidate of a still skeptical GOP, many have underestimated this facile candidate's ability to etch-a-sketch his way to competitive standing in the general election. Let's move to page 2 and the numbers. The attitudes of undecided voters are key, because they always are in the inside the Beltway crowd, the independents and the undecideds. They're the only people that determine elections. They compromise only a sliver of the electorate, but they tend to be independent, secular, and downscale. They like Obama personally, 65% approve of him, but are much more unsure of Romney. 30 approve, 33 disapprove, 38 unsure. They are critical of the president's job performance. Only 30% approve. In the independent, figure this, 65% personal likability, 30% job approval. That means twice as many people like the guy personally as think he's doing a good job. Now, what could possibly explain this? What could possibly explain it? 65% personal, as we have asserted on this program on several occasions. I don't buy this likability, but I think it's all a myth. This cool hand Luke kind of guy, calm, cool, collected. This is the Wilder effect. We have to consider this. We have to consider the Wilder effect, and that is simply non-African-American, non-minority respondents in polls telling the pollster, either on the phone or in person, however it happens, you like Obama? Oh, yeah, you put it down. Right, I love Obama. Put it down. I want to see it. Put it down. I love Obama. I want to see you write it down. What about his job performance? Stinks. Guy's doing the worst job, but I like him. You put it. I like him. Don't you dare put anything. I like him. You got that, Mr. Pollster? I love the guy. He don't know what he's doing. I love him. You got it? No question that there's some of that going on. The independents, who largely make up the undecided vote, give Obama Well, what this boils down to is that Romney basically is up 10 in independents. I'm not going to bother, too many numbers to follow here as I read it. They break it down on middle class, lower class, Democrat versus Republican, pro-economy, anti-economy. That with all finished and said and done, Romney's up plus 10 in independents, even now, as we speak. Obama announces, and voter registration is down among Hispanics and blacks. From the Washington Post, the number of black and Hispanic registered voters fallen sharply since 2008, posing a serious challenge, it says here, to the Obama regime in an election that could turn on the participation of minority voters. In the 2008 election, the robust turnout among black and Latino voters credited with putting Obama over the top in key swing states, including Virginia and New Mexico. Do you know that? It was only the black and Latino vote that made Obama. I don't buy that either. But that's what they want us to believe here in the Washington Post. Voter rolls typically shrink in non-presidential elections. Let me tell you something about this. I have a good friend here in South Florida here who is involved in local politics. Showed me a website. And this is nothing you haven't heard. It's nothing that is going to shock you. There is a house across the bridge here that's vacant, that in the voter registration rolls has 10 people living in it, all Democrats. And this website is devoted to finding all these various types. The fraud in the voter registration rolls is nationwide. It's everywhere, predominantly Democrat. But you will find some Republican. But statistically, it's unavoidable. But when, therefore, there becomes shrinkage, there is real panic on the left. Because they know they're living a lie. And when Realville enters the village of lie, Realville always trumps. Voter rolls typically shrink in non-presidential election years. Registrations among whites fell at roughly the same rate, but this is the first time in nearly 40 years that the number of registered Hispanics has dropped significantly. Why would that happen? Why, for the first time in 40 years? When I hear this, and I'm naturally a curious person, why is it the first time in nearly 4 decades that the number of registered Hispanics has dropped significantly? Tell me why. Tell me, why could that be? How could this? We're talking registered voters now, folks. First time in 40. Wasn't there a statistic that we shared with you either last week or the week prior, in which it has been discovered that illegal immigrants are leaving the United States at about the same rate they are arriving? 1.4 million leaving, 1.5 million arriving. Maybe it's vice versa, but it's a near washout. Now, you might be saying, but Rush, we're talking about voter registration rolls and illegals can't register. You don't think so? You don't think an empty house that has 10 Democrats registered voters, some of them can't be Hispanics that are illegal? With Acorn and the unions and all the other interest groups that are working to make this possible. So I don't know, but it's the first thing I thought of. If first time in 40 years, Hispanic voter registration has dropped significantly. The figure fell 5% across the country to about 11 million, according to the Census Bureau. But in some politically important swing states, the decline among Hispanics is much higher, just over 28% in New Mexico, for example, about 10% in Florida. For blacks, whose registration numbers are down 7% nation. By the way, all this is why the left does not want photo ID required to vote. Here's Antonio Gonzalez, president of the William C. Velasquez Institute, a quote-unquote nonpartisan policy group focuses on Latinos. The only explanation out there for this 40% drop is the massive job loss and home mortgage foreclosures. When you move, you lose your registration. So, according to Antonio Gonzalez, it's because job losses and foreclosures are forcing people out of their homes, and when you lose, you move, you lose your registration. Not when you're a Democrat, you don't. Voter registration for white Hispanics on the Democrat side is down 1. There's actually been 1, not percent, just total. 1 white Hispanic has dropped from the Democrat vote. It was in Florida, I think.